Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel today. Thank you so much for stopping by. In this video, we'll be cutting and sewing this play suit that you can see on the thumbnail. So if you're interested, keep on watching and let's get started. So I'll start by cutting out my half length first, and I already have my pattern paper on my work table. The first thing I'll do is to start taking my points. The distance from my shoulder to my chest line is 8 inches. The distance from my shoulder to my bust point is 10 inches. Distance from my shoulder to my under bust point is 13 inches. Distance from my shoulder to my waist point is 16 inches, and the half length I'll be working with is 17 inches. I'll go ahead and rule a straight line across all these points. I've gone ahead to do that, and I'll label them my chest line, my bust point, and my waistline. And then the length of this pattern paper is the half length I'll be working with. On the start of this pattern paper, which is going to serve as my shoulder line, I took half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. I indicated that with a point. I'll go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then I'll slant into the neckline area. So the next thing I'll do is to place my round armhole measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches. I'll place that same measurement on my chest line, and then I'll connect the dots on the chest line to meet the dots on the shoulder slope into a straight line. After doing that, I'm going to place my bust circumference divided by 4 on my chest line, and I'll place my tape on this straight line. I'll divide it into 2 equal halves. On that point that I just made, which is half of the straight line, I'll go in by half an inch, just like this. After doing that, I'm going to use my ruler to connect from the shoulder slope to meet the half an inch mark and to meet the point on my chest line, just like you see me doing. So I've created my armhole for the front. The next thing I'll do is to place my waist circumference divided by 4 on my waistline. I'll add 1 inch to it for that, and I'll add 1.5 inches to it for my stitching allowance. So I already have my bust circumference divided by 4 on my chest line. I'll go ahead and add 1.5 inches to it for my stitching allowance, because we are not going to take that. That is not going to go close to the bust point. After doing that, I'll go ahead and connect the dots on the chest line to meet the dots on the waistline. And for my dart, I'll take my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 4 inches. I'll take the 4 inches on my waistline and on my bust point. On the bust point, I'll go down by 1 inch. I'll indicate that with a point. I'll connect the 2 points into a straight line. After doing that, on the base of this pattern paper, I'm going to take half an inch on both sides. After doing that, I'll use my ruler to connect to the 1 inch mark that is below the bust point, just like you see me doing. After doing that, guys, we are going to take the neckline measurement. So the person I'm making this play suit for is a bit chubby, so I'll be taking 4.5 inches as my neck width. And for the depth for the back, I'll be taking 1.5 inches. I'll indicate that, and I'll use my ruler to connect. So if you're not too chubby, you can just take 3 inches or 3.5 inches as your neck width, because you'll be adding a zipper to this play suit anyway. So after connecting the neckline, I'll go down by 1 inch for the front neckline. So the front neckline is 2.5 inches. Okay, so I'm also going to connect from that 1 inch to meet the 4.5 inch mark on the neck width. After doing that, I'll go ahead and cut. So I'll be using this same pattern paper to cut out the back. So I'll first of all cut the back armhole and the back neckline, just like this, and then I'm going to place this on my fabric folded into 2, and I'll cut. So guys, I've gone ahead to place my pattern paper on my fabric folded into 2, and I've cut out. I added my zip allowance, and I also went ahead to add 1 inch to the base, which is going to serve as my stitching allowance. And this is the back pattern. I'll go ahead and notch my dart so that I know where to take my dart when I'm sewing. After doing that, I'll go ahead and split my zipper allowance open. So guys, these are the 2 back pieces. I'll go ahead and place my pattern paper back on my work table, and I'll trim out the front armhole and the front neckline. After doing that, I'll place it on my fabric folded into four, and I'll cut out. So just like I did for the front, I added 1 inch to the base, and my center front is on fold because of course this is the front pattern. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead and indicate my dart, and I'll notch it. After notching, I'm going to open it up for you guys to see. You want to add a lining piece, go ahead and cut your lining piece exactly how the main piece is. I'll use my bias to turn my neckline, and I'll take in my dart. So for the pants, you're going to minus your half length to get the length of your playsuit. So my half length was 17 inches, and then I'm going to mark how long my playsuit is going to be. So the person wants it to be long, so it's like a 3/4 playsuit, so I'll be making it 43 inches. My pattern paper is not up to 43 inches, so I'm going to add it on my fabric. So you're going to be needing your crotch measurement. A video will be showing on the screen on how to get your crotch point, but this is the one I normally use, and it comes out really accurate. Okay, after measuring like this, you go ahead and divide whatever you have by 2. Okay, so after measuring, my client, what I got was 32 inches. I divided it by 2. 32 inches divided by 2 is 16 inches. So I'll place my tape on the waistline, which is the start of this pattern paper, and I'll mark 16 inches. I'll go ahead and roll a straight line across the 16 inches mark. So this is going to serve as my crotch line. The crotch line is also going to serve as our hip line, so there is no need to take any hip line. So what I'm going to do is to place my pattern paper like this, and I'll take my client's hip circumference divided by 2 on the waistline and on the crotch line. So I'm taking the same measurements on the waist and the crotch line. I'll go ahead and join the 2 points into a straight line like this. After doing that, I'm going to place my tape on that straight line. So I'm taking the measurement backwards. I'll take my waist circumference divided by 4, as you can see me doing, and then I'll add 1 inch for that and 1 inch for stitching allowance. So I'm adding 2 inches to the waist measurement that I have. After doing that, I'll use my ruler to slant from that point to meet the crotch point. So if you are conversant with my trouser tutorial, you understand what I'm doing. In case you are confused, I'm going to leave details of other trouser tutorial that I have, so you watch and understand. After doing that, what I'm going to do is to get my crotch extension line. So to do that, you're going to divide your hip circumference by 4. So whatever you get from that measurement, you are going to extend it. You come out from that straight line. So what I got was almost 3 inches, but my pattern paper is not enough, so I took 2.5 inches. I will extend it on my fabric. So you're going to use your ruler or your freehand to connect like this, just to create this crotch area effect. In case you are still confused on how to get your crotch extension line, so I placed my tape on the crotch line, which has my zipper measurement divided by 4, and then I went ahead to divide the measurement into 4 using my tape. So whatever you have, go out with this and then connect from there. So on this center front, I'm going to go down by half an inch, and then I'll slant to meet the other side of the pattern paper. The next thing I'll do is to take in my dart. So what I'll do is take half of my nipple to nipple measurement. I'll indicate that with a point. I'll go down by 3 inches, which is going to be the length of my dart, and I'll connect the 2 points into a straight line. After doing that, I'll take half inch on both sides, and I'll connect like this. So guys, after taking in my dart, I'll go ahead and cut. So just look at where I'm cutting so you know where to cut. So if you want your playsuit to be fitted, because I'm not cutting a fitted one, you go down by 4 inches from your crotch line, and then you place your round time measurement divided by 2. Let's say my round time measurement divided by 2 is 12 inches. I'm going to place my tape below my crotch line, and then I'm going to mark 12 inches. After doing that, I'll connect from my crotch extension line to meet the 12 inches like this, and then I'm going to cut that part out. So when you sew, your play suit is going to be fitted. And like I said, this is a 3/4 play suit because that is what my client wants. So your own must not be as long as this one is. So I'm going to place this on my fabric and I'm going to use it to cut out my front pattern. So my fabric is folded into two. What I'm going to do is to extend the crotch extension line and the back. Okay, so if you're on a bigger side, you can go ahead and extend the back by 3 inches or 3.5 inches. The first thing I'll do is to extend my crotch extension line, and I'll also go ahead and extend the back by 3 inches, just like you see me doing. So I also went ahead to extend the crotch extension line by 3 inches, and then I'm going to connect from that point to meet the 3 inches on the back of the pant, just like you see me doing, to have this curve here. After doing that, if you want the down part to be fitted, you can go in just like it is on the pattern paper, but this is a straight place, so I'm just going to connect down to meet the pant length. I've also gone ahead to increase the pants length to make it 45 inches because I didn't have enough pattern paper while I was drafting. So after doing that, guys, what I'm going to do is to go over to the waist area of this pant. So pay close attention so you understand what I'm about to do. I'll go ahead and measure 1 inch upward on the waist area, and then I'll use my tape to mark what I have on my waistline, which is 11 inches. So remember, we have already extended the back pattern, so I'm going to place my tape on this extended part of the fabric, and I'm going to mark the same 11 inches that we have on the pattern paper. After doing that, guys, I'll place my pattern paper on it for you guys to see. So this is going to serve as the new waistline for the back. So I'm going to slant like this from the 1 inch that I went up by. I'll slant to meet the 11 inches mark, just like you see me doing. And then I'll remove my pattern paper. I'll use my chalk to indicate the crotch line. Then I'm going to bring in my ruler and I'll connect from this new waistline to meet the crotch line. So if you don't understand, I'll be leaving a link of how to draft your pants in the comment section so you watch it to understand better. I'm going to use my ruler to connect like this. After connecting, guys, we are done with the back pattern. I'm just going to go ahead and cut. So we have a new waistline for the back. So you can see that I extended the back waistline by 1 inch. I'll go ahead and also cut out on the sides. After cutting, we have our back piece. What I'm going to do is to pin the crotch line area. After pinning, we're going to be adding the zipper to the back. So I'm going to mark 1 inch all the way to the crotch area, and then I'm going to place my nipple to nipple circumference divided by 2, and then I'll go down by 3 inches, which is going to serve as the length of my dart. After doing that, I'll take half an inch on both sides of the straight line, and then I'll notch my dart. So after sewing the crotch line in place, I'll just go ahead and take in my dart. So what I'll do is to head over to my sewing machine. I'll sew the crotch line in place and I'll take in my dart. I also went ahead to place my pattern paper on my fabric and I went ahead to cut out the front exactly as it is. I just increased the length of my pants. That is all I did. I'm going to go ahead and place the crotch line together, right sides facing each other. I'll sew and then I'll go ahead and take in my dart. So guys, I've gone ahead to sew the back crotch line together and I've taken in my dart. This is what I have. I've also gone ahead to pipe my neckline for the front. I've also taken in my dart. So the next thing I'm going to do is to place them right sides facing each other. I'll make sure that my dart is matching. Okay, the dart for the half length and the dart for the pants is matching. I'll go ahead and pin and I'll sew in using the 1 inch that I left on the the base of the pants and the half length. After doing that, guys, for the back, I'm also going to go ahead and sew the cross line together. I'll take in my dart. So the cross line that I sewed for the back is going to serve as my zipper allowance. So I used a gather stitch. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up a bit like this, and I'll bring in my half length for the back. I've gone ahead to also pipe my neckline, and I've taken in my darts. So I'm going to place them on each other, right sides facing each other, just like you see me doing. I'll make sure that the dart is matching. I'll pin, and I'll head over to my sewing machine and use the 1-inch allowance that I left on the base of the pants and the half length to stitch them together. After doing that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and fix my zipper. After sewing, I'll fix my zipper to this zipper area. Then I'll go ahead and cut out my sleeve. So this sleeve is a very simple circle sleeve. So this is my fabric. I'll go ahead and fold my fabric into 2 equal halves like this. After folding, I'm going to go ahead and fold it in a circular form, just like you see me doing. Okay, I'll fold it like this, and then I'm going to start taking my measurement. What I did was to measure around the armhole. After joining the two shoulders of my half length together, I measured around the armhole, and what I had, I divided it by 4. So because this fabric is folded into 4, what I had after measuring around my armhole was 22 inches, and I'm going to divide the 22 inches by 4 since this fabric is folded into 4. 22 divided by 2 is 11. 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So I'm just going to add ½ inch to it. I'll make it 6 inches. Okay, I'll just make it 6 inches. So I'll place my tape like this and find where 6 inches is. Then I'm going to mark it into a straight line. After doing that, I'm going to determine the length of the sleeves. So I want it to be like 8 inches. I want it to be very small. So I'm going to mark 8 inches all the way around, just like you see me doing. After doing that, I'll go ahead and cut. After cutting, I'll use this particular one to cut out the other sleeves. So I'm going to fold my fabric into 2. Before I do that, before I cut out the other sleeves, I'll go ahead and notch the middle of these sleeves. Okay, then I'll fold my other fabric into 2, and I'll place this one on it, and I'll trace it out exactly as it is. After doing that, guys, I'll head over to my sewing machine, and I'll go ahead and hem the base of the sleeves. So you can use your bias to just pipe it. It will make it neater. I'll go ahead and hem all the way around. After doing that, I went ahead to attach the sleeves to the armhole area of my Playsuit, and this is what I have. So what I'm going to do next is to join the 2 crotch lines together, and I will join the sides together. Also, I'll hem the base of my Playsuit, and that is all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. If you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not, and I'll see you guys in the next one.